Anyway, how does a brown coffee cup work? Greg buys it, he throws it, it travels along the line, I dispose of it incorrectly, the sensors pick it up, it ends up in the wrong landfill area, and then I get issued a fine. Because I didn't actually know that Starbucks had put an RFID chip in my cup. And these are real world applications that are happening now. Okay. I don't know much about the Tories, but I do know that they're a UK party. And this is another case of moving us online. So with Obamacare and the like, there's this push to, you know, take your health records and move them online. Now, why do they want to move them online? The reason is they can actually monetize it. So if they can find out your ailments, if you're, you know, a depressed person, we'll pitch Prozac to you. So you'll find your Google keywords will have Prozac and the rest of it. And then there's this illusion that, you know, there's this competitive war between Google Health and Microsoft Health Vault. There is none. It's two companies. They've got a share of the pie. Regardless of who gets it, you're going to end up on one of those. So once your medical records are basically online, from there on they can actually be then sold off to insurance agencies. So, you know, things that are confidential under, you know, doctor's oath, basically, once they're online, they're not. That data is basically then sold off to insurance companies that can go, okay, well look, Greg's got a bit of a heart problem, I think we'll raise his premiums, or we just won't insure him at all. And that is why Obamacare, he cares so much, because there's so much to gain. How it works, just quickly, you've got Google Health, which sits in the middle, and then you can see the employers can query the database, the doctors, the hospitals, the insurance, and then obviously the VeriChip. Now the VeriChip is actually Microsoft Health Vault approved product, and it will probably be a Google approved product as well. See, what we need to understand is it's an FDA approved product. So that can mean obviously most, you know, like for example in Australia you've got the TGA. The TGA will easily look at what the FDA has done and basically embrace that. Who brought us the barcode? Oh, it's IBM again. Basically created in 1971 and started being used in 1973 in the military. The difference with the barcode is it needs to actually be scanned one at a time and can actually only give you one number. Let's say, for example, for a can of Coke would have the specific number and that's it. Where it gets now to the electronic, to the electronic product code, they've now assigned enough digits where every can of Coke that comes off the actual production line can be given a unique number. So every product that can be manufactured, as mentioned, from sewing needles all the way to jumbo jets to grains of sand, can be individually numbered. And then once those products are actually networked and become digitally aware, I mean, you could be sitting in a room here with 50 products, they've got RFID in them and you wouldn't have a clue. All I would need to do is install a choke scan, or like a scanner as one leaves, and then I would have a good indication of what products one has on you. And what there needs to be is legislation for a right to know. If there's an RFID tag on a product, you have every right to know, because if you don't know, that information is going to be used against you. Like, I mean, I'm sure Jackie Smith with what her husband bought, you know, anyway. Well, that actually made all the way to Australia, but that's not the point. I mean, if that was tracked, that's my point. If that was tracked, right, which is normal transaction, an RFID product is actually alive from where it's manufactured all the way to death, basically. That really covers what the other slide actually did, but just to drive it home, 33 bits assigns all humans. Now, the other thing as well is once a product becomes electronically aware, it has its own web page. So to give you an example, let's say that speaker had an RFID chip in it, right, with an electronic product code. I could actually query it and say, where was it sitting, what was it doing, who touched it, to the point where you have the whole life cycle of the actual product. And we won't have access to that information to actually query it like the top elite guys do. The point is, why should they care if I bought a can of beans, what I'm doing with my can of beans? It's just, I just want to eat them. That's where we're at right now. We're basically at the smart sensor network stage. So RFID has been around for quite some time now, and we're moving now to a point where even most people don't even know it's basically embedded into products and the like. I won't spend much time on that, but this is the Internet of Things. So what the Internet of Things is, we're currently on what's called Internet Protocol version 4, and what Internet Protocol version 4 is a certain amount of IPs, which is Internet Protocol, let's say numbers. It's like real estate. So if you have a web page, you have an IP for that, blah, blah, blah. So what they've done is they've created more numbers so they can actually move all products onto the internet. So when you look at the 2005 to 2008 web diagram over there, you can actually see as more and more products are added, so the mesh network basically becomes more complex and more populated. And don't forget that the human beings are part of that as well. Just quickly, Adam Greenfield from Nokia, I'd recommend his book called Everywhere, if anyone wants to study Internet Protocol version 6. The guy is actually, even though he's in the industry, he's totally concerned about the 128-bit address space, where he said there is enough address space for IP that we can actually give an IP address to dust particles, right? So, I mean, where is this moving to? So a grain of sand will have its own web page. Okay, back to IBM. They just recently released a product called IBM Breadcrumbs, which is an app, and the iPhone will bring a lot of this to the actual market because it is a personal computer at the end of the day. And once it actually moves to 4G, what you would do is you take your phone, you hold it up to the electronic product code, which is actually in your supermarket. It then tells you the summary of the ingredients, when it was manufactured, if there was any product recall data on the peanuts, how long has the product been on the shelf, and in enough time, who bought it in your particular area. So that's just too much information. I mean, I don't need to know that. But it's not that I don't need to know that. It's like IBM doesn't need to know that. That's the problem. Okay, we'll discuss ambient intelligence, and this is a pull technique into the internet. It basically, you've seen smart houses and, environments that you come home and you've had a bad day and you want to drop a red wine, so it pours you the red wine, puts on the mood music, and there's always the benefit. Now, when there's a benefit attached to it, there's the reason the environment is actually responding to you in context is because it knows about you. So the more the environment can actually respond in context and deliver you the right service, it's because it has correlated data and basically sapped information from you to deliver you a service that, do you really need it? Like at the end of the day, I might not want one-to-one when I get home. I might want whiskey. So that's a bad example, but my point is I don't need my environment to tell me what to do, how to do it, and to predict what I'm doing. It's like I'm a human being. I have free will, and I'm not going to get to a point where I'm living in a world where there's these embedded sensors predicting, analysing, plotting my moves, and then pitching services to me so they can actually monetize me, like the Minority Report, which is another predictive programming, Tom Cruise. Anyway.